Hello, welcome to another one of our videos, and today I'm going to show you how I might put together a sequence of drills and exercises to correct something that we might have seen that comes up. And this is actually a real sort of event that happened yesterday, but I'm sort of manufacturing it myself and not using the person who was doing it. Alright, so I'm going to show you what I was doing. So firstly, we're observing a person doing a squat, and you'll notice when I do this squat there's going to be a cheating method that I'll apply that I see quite a lot, and in this case it happens on only one side, being my right side. And what you need to look carefully for is what I do with this foot. Alright, so I'll play this video for you and you'll get to see what happens. Alright, so you can sort of see there how my right heel lifts off the ground. My left foot stays permanently locked onto the ground. And you'll see right there where it goes down. Now, I'm doing this deliberately, but this is exactly what I've seen many times in recent occasions. And in each case, there was a problem at either the hip, or it was very much a problem at the hip, but there was pain either in the lower back, the hip itself, or in the hamstring in the case of this other client that we had. And this gives away this little cheating method of the body here. When someone takes that heel off the ground, there is no way they can effectively use their posterior muscles here at all. Alright, because all of the load is going to go straight into the quad and the knee, because you will need to have the glute put down to be effectively able to use this. So can you see how that could so easily translate into problems at the knee, definitely problems at the hip, because what are you using to stabilize the hip itself if you haven't got the biggest muscles that you need? So huge problems will result from this. So now the reason why it's happening, well, that could be for many reasons, but simply telling someone to put their heel down is obviously, they may not know that they're doing it, but they will most unlikely be unable to change it either. So you'll see I'll do this last rep where I'll put my foot, I'll do it properly this time, where I'll keep both feet still, and you'll see there's no movement at the hip there, and I'm much more stable on the squat. Right, so what I did after this, right, there was several things, so I'm just going to sort of skip through this. So first thing I did is I grab a band. Alright, now I'm going to use this band tied to the pole here, and I'm going to release any stiffness that I might fall. Actually, so firstly I'm going to use it to do a stabilizing drill. So sometimes I'll do the mobility thing first if it's needed. In my case it wasn't really needed, and I'll show you what I would do, but for me I know it's more about a stability problem. Right, so I might do a simple using a band or a cable machine as such, and trying to develop some strength into my glute max. This movement here, the 4-point position, is definitely the best way to do that, right? And for several reasons, because I'm going to be able to effectively load this glute, making sure that I can keep it in an anterior tilted position. So it's very easy to keep my posture with this natural curve there. All right, this natural curve allows me to load the glute, and especially the glute maximus, which is the big one, because a lot of people will get the glute medius, which is the smaller one on the top, and they'll overwork that one and get sore back problem, not a lower back problem from it. So I can get great stability and really improve the function of this hip here, and maintaining the pelvic position that I need for the squat. All right, so how does that affect the foot? Well, we're going to come to that in a second, but you basically need to always work around from with the pelvis first, and then work your way up. So after I've done that, then I'll work on that hip stretch that I was saying. So this is one we use a lot for hip impingements, where the person's just not driving their femur back into their glutes enough. Now that foot mechanism, and the person that I had in mind for this had a hamstring problem. So on a foot and ankle assessment, she had perfectly good function of the ankle full range of both ankles, no problems with the feet stability, could move toes, do everything around there. So I ruled that out as a problem. And same with myself, I don't have a problem at the feet or the ankle, but I definitely do have some issues with the squat at times. And I know my problems are all to do with the hip. Alright, so I'll use this band stretch to pull back the femur deep into the socket so that when I get into the low range of the squat where I'm cheating on it, that I'm in a better position to centrate the femur's head in the hip socket. Alright, so I'll just hold that stretch for, maybe 30 seconds or so. I might even use a foam roller, which I think I do in a second from memory. Yep, might grab a foam roller. So this might be needed for trigger points, especially with people with piriformis syndrome. All of this stuff here I see a lot with piriformis syndrome, by the way, where there's lots of hip issues, huge trigger points being driven by the fact that they are on their toes when they need to be on their heels during movements of squat, lunges, step-ups, especially running, and they're really cranking up all the problems in the hip there because they don't keep their heel down. So I might use some tissue release here in combination with the stretch and the 4-point drill of the horse stance as such, right? So once I've done that, then I'll come back to the squat, but I'm going to use a tool here to help me. So I'm going to use some heel plates, all right? And this is going to help me to find a better weight distribution. So I'll go down and touch my toes, and you'll see my elbows go between my knees to make sure I keep my glutes on the job. Then I'll sort of rock back and forward gently and sort of feeling what it's like to be too far back in my heels and too far into my toes, as you can see I'm doing there. All right, and then I'll try to feel what it's like to be in the right place. I'll know that I might be a bit low, so see how I've come up. I could feel that my pelvis was too low. After I've held that for maybe 10 seconds, I come up, have a break, and then try it again, driving my elbows between my knees, right, and then rocking back and forth, keeping a good posture, finding out where the right depth is, because I think I'm probably a bit low there. I rock forward again to see what it's like, get the nice posture. Right there is where I need to work, and I need to be up that little bit higher. So I can sort of really feel where it is I need to be before I go to the load. All right, and I'll show you from what it looks like from front on. Again, this is a great way to sort of use the various drills where all the things I've done so far, I'll go round and round in circles to try and improve this last movement, because this last movement is where it's all done at the same time. All right, so my hands go between my knees to get that nice alignment of the knees and getting that glute function, and then I'm just rocking back and forward, trying to feel where I need to be, and then once I've sort of got where I want to be, then I'll move back into the load. All right, so now I'll go back to the barbell and see if I can apply everything I learned. All right, so I'll move. So we'll just have a look, see what I do here. All right, so then I'll actually apply a band to help me get some extra glute function. I'll put the plates there to assist me in the beginning, but I'm going to get rid of them if I feel like I've got the hang of it. All right, so then let's watch what I do. So I walk back to my heel plates. I've got the band on here to help me get the activation of the glutes. I know what I need to be positioned with in terms of how far back and how far forward. If I feel like I've got the hang of it, then I'll get rid of the heel plates. So I might do 2 or 3 to see where I'm at, and then once I feel like I'm there, then I'll get rid of them. All right, so there's no movement at the heel. I've got good depth still. I've got load on there, so now I'll get rid of the plates and I'll give them a kick away. There we go. And then we'll go back to doing like we did at the start. I might need several sets to get the hang of this. So if everything works well, no foot movement. All right, so that's in a 10-minute explanation of how I might go about trying to correct one thing, being this squat. Now, it could have been any exercise. Might have seen the same thing happen in a lunge or something, for example. But you basically try to work backwards away from it, use some mobility and stability work, educate the pattern in an easier movement, and then go back with the tools and slowly get rid of them piece by piece, and you should be able to get on top of it, and you'll definitely notice weaker muscles doing more work and overworking muscles doing less. Alright, so I hope you've enjoyed that video, and we'll see you on our next one.